Hi, this is Bob Cohen again, and I'm doing a YouTube video on how to tie Pott's fly called a brown bear black. This is probably one of my favorite patterns that I like to use when I'm using a wet fly. You can see the nice Pott's weave in the belly. And of course, B Pott was was a German immigrant that started a fly shop in Hamilton, Montana, and he patented some hair flies during the 30s, and I used them almost exclusively when I was growing up in Montana, and I did really well with these hair fly patterns. Anyway, what you're going to need to tie this fly is you're going to need some black bear hair, and you're going to need some brown bear hair, or some horsetail would work for this. And the best way where I get them is at a taxidermy shop, and most taxidermy shops let me go through their scrap bins and pick what I want, and they're usually pretty good about that. You're also going to be using some highly colored orange floss, and we're going to also want to tell you that you really want to use a 6/0 thread. It's a little bit heavier duty than what you're probably used to using, but you want to use it because these hair flies take a little bit more tension on them. So anyway, we're going to get started here. Again, I'm going to use a 3906B hook, and I always tie these on the 3906 or a 3906B, and that's because this throat is a little bit bigger, and when you have the bigger body flies like this, you want a little bit bigger throat on your fly. So we're going to get started here. I fished these flies almost exclusively when I was growing up in Montana, and I used to get them at places like Bud Lily's in West Yellowstone, Montana, and Fran Johnson's out of Butte, Montana, Lucky Bug out of Butte. And in the 80s, I met a woman by the name of Elva Wambacher out of Dillon, Montana, and I used to get a lot of these flies for her for actually some of the shops down here in Denver. But everybody's out of business now, so that's why I decided to start tying these flies on YouTube, and hopefully some of you big fly tiers will take it up and keep this pattern going. So we got our floss tied in there, and next I'm going to tie in, I've cut about 4 inches of black bear hair here. I'm going to tie that in, and I'm going to go up the shank of the hook quite a ways, because this hair is going to help provide a little thickness to the body of the fly. And you want to leave yourself, some room out here, because these hair flies, the hackles, take up a lot of room up front. So you want to leave yourself a little extra room when you're tying these. As I said before in some of my other videos, you really want to split this hair into two sections. I have found over the years that this just makes it so much easier to tie these flies. And we're going to start to wrap this hair. And again, you want to try and get this body of these flies kind of a torpedo shape. And that's going to help with your hackle to keep it pushed out away from the body of the fly and create a little bit bigger wake behind it going down the river. So we're going to tie this off. And I got to tell you, this is a good, you got to keep this hair taut when you're winding it. If it gets away from you, it's never good. Okay, now we're going to do the Pott's weave. So you're going to come down with this hair over the body once, and then you're going to take your floss and you're going to come underneath this bunch of hair here, and you're going to go over the top of it, and then you're going to pull it up tight, and then you're going to go around the body with your main bunch of hair here. And you're going to go underneath, over the top, pull it tight, and go over the fly, the body of the fly. Underneath, over the top, pull her tight, over the body of the fly. And you're going to do this all the way down the body of the fly here. Underneath, over the top, pull her tight, over the body. Underneath, over the top, pull her tight, over the body. Underneath, over the top, pull her tight, over the body, just like that. Then we're going to tie this off. You really want to get several wraps on this so that the hair doesn't get away from you. And then we're going to trim that off. Okay. Now, we've got that weave going, you can see. So we're going to pull this floss tight. Like this. And we're going to tie that floss off. Okay. And then we're going to trim that off. All right. I call that my first termination. So we're going to take some super glue. We're just going to put a little bit on there. And if you're like me and every once in a while you cut your bobbin off, it will save this part of your fly and you don't have to start over. So now I've taken my brown bear hair and I've put it in a stacker. So I'm going to split this hair up into 2 bunches also. And we're going to tie the first bunch in here. And kind of spread this hair out a little bit. Now this is where that torpedo body, shaped body comes into play. It kicks that hackle, that hair hackle, out away from the fly, giving you that wake going down, wake behind it going down the river. Okay, so we got our second bunch of hair tied in here. Now, one thing I should tell you is that Potts used to put his hair hackle on here a little bit different. He'd put equal amounts of hair, tie them in with a figure 8, pull them back, and then tie off the head. Either way, whatever you like, you know, whatever's easier for you. This happens to be easier for me doing it this way. And you can see that torpedo-shaped body is kicking that hair out on this fly. So we're going to tie this off with just a simple half hitch here. Like so. And we're going to take our glue, and I usually put a couple coats of glue on this thing, on these flies. But these were a really pretty productive fly for me when I was growing up. You know, I used to fish these in the riffles quite a bit, and I used them on the Big Hole River, the Beaverhead, the Jefferson River, the Gallatin River. I used them on the Yellowstone a lot, on the Madison a lot, and I don't know why they've almost become extinct, but they have. I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to give it a second dose of glue here before I do the final step. And you can see that nice weave, that nice Pott's weave. I also use Pott's weave on when I'm tying like a Montana bitch crick or a Helgramite. It's kind of a modified Pott's weave, but so I'm going to take this fly out of here. What we're going to do is we're going to pull all this hair back just past the hook, cut it off. And you can see that's a pretty nice looking fly. You fish these, again, I fish these mostly on a downstream swing, skipping them through the riffles, and they seem to be pretty darn productive at times. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you continue to watch some of these flies that I tie, and I will be seeing you on the next go around. Thanks a bunch for watching.